Welcome back. We are glad you are still keeping us company here on Good Morning Kenya. I am Jain, Wambui, and with us in studio this morning we have Professor Romanus Odhiambo, who is the Vice Chancellor of Meru University of Science and Technology. Now, Professor, we get back to this conversation, still looking at the curriculum, and now narrowing it down to the institutions of higher learning, colleges, universities, and the likes. We have always seen conversations, especially when students are graduating, then they join the job market. We hear employers complaining that, oh, these guys are half-baked, or these guys, what they're being taught in school is a complete mismatch with the industry needs that we are currently experiencing. What are your thoughts when it comes to this conversation? Because it's something that has been happening for so many years, but yet there seems to be a gap that is yet to be addressed.
Thank you, Wambui, and thank you for that good questions. Universities, I'll talk with you on universities and more so Meru University of Science and Technology. Perhaps I'll give some few examples in JKU, where I was for 27 years. Universities are centers of excellence for creating knowledge creations, that means research, and for just sustaining that knowledge, just people still just learning that knowledge. And of course, packaging that and coming up with new innovations and all the rest. So, number one, the issue of half-baked, I've had it for some time. And for me as a university professor, sometimes I feel bad about it.
Yes.
Because I teach students from undergraduate to PhD. And for me as a university professor, I have a syllabi, I have a detailed course outline, and then the reference text and the laboratory, the field works and whatever. We do all that. So as far as a university professor work is concerned in the university, I can say we do almost 85 to 90 to 100%. So saying a half-baked sometimes offends us as university professors. And as Kenyans, please, ladies and gentlemen, I plead that you also respect your professionals, like academics like us. We know what is needed, and that's why you took me to school for all these 45 years. And so when you give me Wambui as my student, I mean well for her. But where they may also be right is that you look at the whole pipe.
Yes.
Wambui comes in as a journalist and communication student. And then I take her through what I've just described. And at the end of the pipe, we pour her outside there. Then some of them, just like we had said earlier, the concept was that immediately the car passes up the top of the pipe, she needs a job. Yeah, now that job is not there. Now that's not a problem of the university. That could be a problem of all of us as a country, be it the public sector, be it the private sector. It's like we are producing more than we can absorb. And this is what the KBC earlier on was addressing. Secondly, for the university like Meru University of Science and Technology, where I'm the CEO, the Vice Chancellor, we have tried to avoid that. I insist that my professors teach the students the whole package, what is expected. But not only that, we are a science and technology institutions.
Yes.
We also have to link with the private sector, with the industries, that my students, when they are within the university, they have to go and learn the skills that the industry need. So that it is not just the theory that I give them in the university, but what they learn also has a link. They also see what the industry does. And so we insist that if you look at the whole academic sector, when you go first year to final year, there's a time that you have to go to the industry, spend some weeks with the industry so that you learn what is it that Professor Odhiambo was teaching in the class, whether it is really relevant, and what is it that the industry really want to link with us. And so Meru University of Science and Technology, through my leadership and through the council leadership, we have insisted on creating a linkage with the industries and with the private sector where we can also be linking our students. So you'll find my students in agriculture, they have to go to very reputable agricultural farms so that they learn the real skill. My engineering students, the same. My computer science students, the same. All the students, they have to do this. So that's what we do. The issue of half-baked also comes sometime. I'll talk this, although you didn't ask it. It's the financing sometime that comes to the university. The model of financing universities right now is called differentiated unit cost. That means what kind of program does Wambui do, and how many students are taking that. Now with that, if I'm taking education, like I'm a trained education teacher. I did double mathematics and education in Kenyatta University. And then you are a journalism and communication. And maybe Sarah there is a medical person. And then maybe she's an engineer. You know, the fees, the amount of money we use is all different.
Yes.
Now the differentiated unit course address that. For a long time, we have been giving the university fees money from the government, just like if it is all the same.
A blanket cover.
A blanket cover. And that sometimes, sadly, may result in a way that sometimes the kind of equipment, the kind of infrastructure required for you as a journalist who want to learn about digital marketing and communication, you cannot buy them. The medical doctor who wants now to do telemedicine and what have you, there's not enough money to do this. This is what we need also to address. And so sometimes you may find some universities which are still unlucky, they do not have this, and so the student just pass, even though the professor want to teach very well so that you get the whole package. But the infrastructure may not be enough. And I think going forward, as a country, we need to address this. We need to put a lot of money in the universities so that we address some of these things, because it is the university graduates that are set at the policy level all the time. The countries that have developed, mabibi na mabwana, ladies and gentlemen, they have put a lot of emphasis on the financing of university education, on the financing of infrastructural development, on the financing of research, and on the financing of the personnel costs, so that the people who are working there are comfortable. They can work well and produce 100% graduate, not the half-baked that sometimes we talk about Wambui.
Now that brings me back to the courses that are now being offered in these universities. Could there also be a problem in some of the courses, given some could be repetitive and redundant, and yet when you look at the larger scope of the courses that are offered, you can clearly see that there's an inclination to certain areas and certain career paths. What does this now tell you as an educator on the university side of the divide in terms of the courses and the relevance to which they are in relation to the industry?
Thank you very much. You know, I'm a teacher, Wambui. Curriculum is dynamic.
Yeah.
That means it is never stagnant. That the calculus I did 40 years ago is still the calculus today. Yes, it is. But in terms of application, the emerging industrial needs, the emerging things that are changing, causes us also to
adjust
change.
To that, yeah.
And so to address your question, I've had this pedestrian argument that some courses like history should be scrapped out, CRE. By the way, I'm a pastor. I read the Bible a lot. That CRE, we don't need it, what have you. No. Why do we have so many mental stress in this country? Why are people only thinking from today, they are our stomach, and we don't learn from the past, how people have evolved and reached this with all this? I think what is needed is really to make sure that our curricula evolve with the time. If it is history, there are new things that have happened which are still very relevant outside there. So don't just teach the history of 2020, I don't know, the 1900, but also try to bring what is it that is happening today. What are the historical challenges that we had, and how do they compare today? What do we learn from that, and how do we move forward? And so, but you are also very right. In the new world order, there are things like data analytics. There are things like artificial intelligence. There are things like, you know, cyber security and forensic science. These were never there. These things are becoming hotcake today. And so like in my Meru University of Science, we are the only university in this country, and think East and Central Africa, that has introduced a course in data science, data analytics, Bachelor of Science, just trying to see what is it that the world right now needs. These are the real thing right now. Data analytics, the big data, how to analyze and how to produce it to project the future. Cyber crime is a reality. Hata wewe kwa simu yako, si unajua hiyo? Now, the people that can address that, they are not there. And so Meru University, I think with just one university in East and Central Africa, we also introduced a course in computer science and computer security and forensic, just to address that, people going to the bank and cheating and all the rest. And many, many other things. Going forward, ladies and gentlemen, courses, the programs that we do are dynamics, and in Meru University, every end of the cycle, I put my professors together to redesign, to relook at the industry needs, the changes, and then how to capture them in the new courses we do. We should not just scrap. For example, in my education classes, I did course like psychology. Yeah, and we were doing things like child development. That time, I had no more Pamela in my life. I didn't know that I would be a parent. So we're doing child development. We're doing things like sociology. When I meet a person like Wambui for the first time, how do I behave and all the rest? We're doing philosophy, that you don't just accept things without asking why, what, how. And today in Kenya, the new generation, they say they think smart. Now, all this, for you to really be a real total responsible global citizen, you require a salad of all kind of these things. And so that's why I'm saying we need to really take these things very seriously in our curriculum. The mental stress, the stress we have, people are committing suicide, the abuse of drugs and alcohols and what have you, is coming because we have left some of these things. And so today psychology is very important, sociology is very important, and many, many other things. So the future is basically to see, when you are a student in the university, try to do well and check what is happening in the industry, learn it also, but also in your free time, try also to get other information that will help you go forward. And I think that's what I can say. Thank you.
All right. Now, that brings me to now your institution, Meru University, given it's heavily founded on science and technology. And where these two are mentioned, research is always at the end of that equation. Now, we are living in a time where even the industry, the companies struggle when it comes to research and development. Given you are a university, you have the responsibility of imparting knowledge on all these graduates. On graduation date now, you have now given the power to confer knowledge. Looking at the aspect of research in your institution and all the other universities, what are you doing to actually just make sure you are staying afloat and ensuring that the research part does not suffer because funding, on the other hand, is still a problem?
Thank you very much, Wambui. Thank you. It's like you're reading my mind. Meru University of Science and Technology is a science and technology university. It's an entrepreneurial, it's a training, it's a research university. I hope you underline those words: entrepreneurial, training, and research university. That means those three components are very important. At Meru University of Science and Technology, our council, led by Professor Munari Busire, has insisted whatever budget we have, we always have to put at least 10% for research. And this money, we normally use it to give internal researchers from my people, a seed money, so that we are able to grow these young people to know how to do research.
Yes.
So there's at least 10%. And that 10%, we also use it for putting some little money for innovation. You get this? Because there's also innovation aspect. And final part of it is also used now to do some startups and, some development of the products that can find their way into commercialization.
Yes.
I've tried this in the last 3 and 6 months I've been there, and it is yielding a lot of research work. The second one now, because we have now incubated quite a number of people, we have also now packaged people together, sent people together, my professors, my lecturers, to be having research teams at the department and at the schools. The idea is whenever there's a grant call, external grant call, you put them together, they write proposal. Let me tell you, Wambui,
yes,
kuna pesa huko nje. There's a lot of money. I have staff in my university research groups that bring in between 100 million, 70 million, 60 million, 50 million, even 150 million. So that's another thing we are trying to do. And so our council, which is actually the trustee of the government on behalf of running the university, has also now made it a mandatory every year. All staff must sign a performance contract that tells us what research are you doing, what innovation are you doing, how many research grants do you intend to apply. By the way, the internal research grant is only for the first timers.
Okay.
Once you get it, Wambui has got it this year, then the next time you are supposed to grow up. You are weaned out. Now you know how to write a research proposal. You should go and now compete for research grants outside there.
Go forth and seek.
Yeah, that's what we are doing.
Okay.
And the last one I want to say, we are the only public university in Kenya whose chancellor decided to build an innovation center, research, development, and entrepreneurship and innovation center. Now, that center is actually answering to the need of the university in terms of research, in terms of training, in terms of entrepreneurship, in terms of innovation, in terms of startups, in terms of commercialization. And we are very grateful, Kenyans, if we can have people like our Chancellor, Dr. James Mwangi, the CEO of Equity Bank, somebody who is selfless, somebody who can come out philanthropically speaking and actually challenge that. Whenever I go there and see what our students are achieving through this, that's where they now practice the things they have learned in class theoretically. They do their innovation there, they develop their products there, and I think the future is bright. And for us as Meru University of Science and Technology, we are forever grateful to Dr. James Mwangi, our Chancellor. Thank you.
All right. Now, given you are a science and technology university, you're also alive to the fact that you are based in Meru, and agriculture is a heavy aspect of Meru County. How are you as an institution aligning to the needs of your community to just also give forth, you know, they say you spill over, aligning with the agricultural needs of that particular area, and also given it's part of the Big Four agenda when it comes to food security at large?
Thank you, Wambui. Meru University of Science and Technology is so critical to the Meru community. You know, it has the name of the community. Let me tell you, you Kenyans don't know. They are Meru in Tharaka, they are Meru all over. But the only university with the community, they are all Merus. The only university with the community name is Meru University. And so the question you are asking is, what is it that we do to the community? There are many things.
Yes. Number
one, there are farmers' days, open days. Farmers' open days. Every year we invite the farmers around. And Meru as a community, just like in Kikuyu land where I lived, I don't know whether Wambui you are a Kikuyu. Kikuyu wanapenda kutafuta pesa, a business, and there you beat all Kenyans. Meruans are aggressive in farming and looking for money. Sorry, Meruans, don't do. I think I'm talking good about you. Very aggressive people. They are good farmers. And so every year, when we have open Agri-Farmers Day, they come and we take them through on the state of research, the state of agricultural trend, and all the rest.
Yes.
Like one of the things we have done is, how do you use waste to make manure? Because Kenyans are becoming very sensitive in terms of the food they eat, and you have heard of organic foods and all the rest. So quite a number of, in our Sanitation and Research Institute, my director, Madam Joy Riunga, I'm sure she could be watching me wherever she is, keep on bringing the farmers around just to train them on safety in terms of the manure you use and how you can make organic manure and all the rest. But also in terms of agricultural husbandry, what is it that is done? And I have very many professors in our School of Agriculture and Food Science, what we call SAFs. And this is something that they do. The research that our people do. Like I know Kenyans think, every part of Meru is Mira. And yet Mira is only one place. I have professors in my Department of Agriculture, Department of Horticulture, and their main research is basically on value addition on Mira. How do you grow it? How do you produce that Mira? How do you value add so that a beautiful lady like Wambui today does not just chew it and like a goat? I'm sorry, Wambui. You know, we are doing this, and the farmers are coming up in big numbers. And so we have started through the support of the Kenyan government and my council. We have established what we call a Mila Research Institute, somewhere in Lari, towards Labset. And the main idea is to train farmers on the husbandry of Mira, the type of the varieties and how you can take care of it so that at the end of it, you get good yield. We are at the border of Kenya towards the semi-arid areas. The main animals there are camels. The Turkanas have a lot of animals and all the rest. We do a lot of research in camel milk research. a lot of it. And the value addition, we are now moving the council through our chair, Professor Bosire, is now shaping us to move towards also leather technology, because there are so many animals. I think we have over 50% of livestock in this country towards those sides. Now, how do you make use of the hides? How do you make use of the skin? You know, that is leather technology. And so we are targeting our researchers really to work on this and tell the farmers how they can make sure that the animal they have produces a good skin, produces a good hide, because it is the quality of the skin and the hide. I know Kenyans do not know the difference. That make a difference in terms of the money you'll get from that skin, you'll get from that side. So all my people are doing that. Thank you.
That is beautiful. Now, as we draw closer and closer to the end of this conversation, you know, we are still in a time where our education system is trying to recover straight from the children up to the higher level of learning. We're trying to recover lost time, and we're also in a very sensitive time in terms of general elections, politicking all over the place. Looking at this space that we are in, what will be your message to the students, the parents, and the politician in line with the state of education in our country?
Thank you, Wambui. In this country, we have politics every 5 years. But Kenyan life has to continue. There are things that we cannot play with. One of them is education. Education for our children, from preschool up to university. In fact, education is from womb, when you have a baby in your womb, up to the tomb when you are dying. So anything about education, if I'm a politician, I'm talking about it, please talk something you have researched on. That I would like to, as a professor, I said it earlier on.
Yes.
Don't just talk, because you are dealing with Kenyan's life. A poor person, father and parent, my father Odhiambo, would not have seen me in the TV and being a vice chancellor if I did not go to school. But it is the school, it's the education which is an equalizer. For an Odhiambo who is a vice chancellor right now, and for a poor person in Moyale, a poor person in Lamu, in Muranga, name it, a poor person in Masaini, it is education which is an equalizer for everybody. So anybody opening his mouth or her mouth in terms of education, give message of hope and comment on something very well. For my students in Meru University and all students, we are in the age of politics right now. Sometimes you are used as young people for violence and many, many other things. Please, you have gone to school. Allow people to market their political ideologies, their manifestos, and because you are sharp, choose. Your role is only to go and cast your vote. But don't allow yourself to be used by politicians to cause violence and to do so many things. Focus on your life as an academician, focus on your life as a student, because what you do in wherever you are, be it in high school, be it in the university, be it in a college, is what is going to determine how you will be. You never know that you will be our Uhuru Muigai, you never know that you will be our Ruto, you never know that you will be our Raila, you never know that you will be our Professor Odhiambo, the Vice Chancellor of Meru, 20, 30, 40 years from now. And all that depends on the academic that you are going through today. For our parents, please, let's encourage students. Let's encourage our students. Let us be role model. I always remember my mother, she's long gone, she's dead. She never went to school. And she used to say, my son, go to school, go to school. And there was a time we used to be sent away from the school because of we were paying, I think, 30 shillings per year. And hiyo pesa ya kuwako. So she could make alcohol and the police come and arrest her. And some people pay her dead 10 shillings. That's what I used to go and pay. Today, I think she's really celebrating us. So the parents, you can inspire your children, even if you didn't go to school, the way my mother and my father, who was a drunkard, inspired me. You have a role to really focus the children. The problem we have in this country is that the parents, sometimes we have abdicated our responsibility. We don't counsel, we don't give a message of hope to our children. Thank you very much, Wambui.
Fantastic. Now, before we get to close this conversation, just as a point of clarification, last week one of the dailies did print out a story that was indicating 9 universities, public universities, got funding. And we know funding has been a major issue when it comes to institutions of higher learning. What was your reaction to that particular story? Because, I mean, your institution is a public university.
Thank you, Wambui. I got that. I went into the office, and Sarah, my public relation office, I always make sure that I have newspaper. That's what I see, the first thing.
Front page.
The front page. And I went through it, and I was concerned because it was just the universities that are known in this country. Nairobi, JKU, where I was for 27 years, Egerton, you know, the KU, Moi, they are getting money. Na jina langu ya Meru akwa huko. So I checked, I followed up.
Yeah. And
let me tell you, it is all lie. We have signed a CBA with the government 2017-2020, 21. And that CBA was saying that the government was to give 8.8 billion to fund personnel costs in the university. I hope you hear me, Wambui.
Yes.
Now, up to this time, now they are putting it in the newspaper. The government has released 8.6 billion. Tuko pamoja?
Kabisa.
Now, in this supplementary budget, the 200 million that remained is the one that is now going to be released. So I get it very well. And that 200 million, ata mimi, mabibi na mabwana, Meru, ata yangu, niko na yangu. So it is not that those 9 universities.
Yes.
I would like to plead to you guys in journalism, my good friends, you are good friends, that I think we also need to do research. Whatever we are putting in the newspaper, we should also do proper research. I've told my journalism and communication students that please, when you report something, make sure that you go and check so that you report the right thing. I think that's the information. But that, now that you have raised that,
sure,
it is not going to be enough. The 8, even if we get that 200 million, the deficit, the financial deficit, the financial challenges in public institutions and private institutions is real and live. And as I've always said, I really plead to all stakeholders, including our government, that please think about, especially universities, countries that have developed, have put a lot of money in the universities. And so you have seen in the last 1 year, a lot of picketing, a lot of industrial strikes everywhere. And sometimes people think it is us, the Vice Chancellor, we are not able to manage the university. That is the problem. Because even this 8.8 billion, there's still maybe almost 50%, which is still outside there. The workers want you to give them the money. The money has not come. But I'm very happy. I think our ministry is working very hard on this, together with the government, to see how eventually we'll close the gap. But for the staff in all universities, I think Kenya is our country. I've kept on telling my staff in Meru University, we are only in one boat called Kenya. If you rock it so much, I come from the lake next to Meru Bay, the boat can capsize. And if you don't know how to swim and bootstrap, you will die. So we can only work together and make sure that this country called Kenya, this university is called Meru University, and whichever university, we stay afloat without capsizing. And that requires peace, that requires support from all stakeholders. Then when we have a nice environment, the donors will bring money.
Yes.
The staff will sit down and write proposal na pesa itakuja. And even your employer, the council, will start not only coming to the university to address picketing notices, but they'll be thinking strategically on what is it that we need to do to make sure that our staff are comfortable.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you very much for being with us today. Remember, this has been all about the state of our institutions of higher learning, understanding where we are so far, just taking stock, because we are yet to do that, and this has been that particular opportunity. We have been speaking with Professor Romanus Odhiambo, who is the Vice Chancellor of Meru University of Science and Technology. Ladies and gentlemen, that is all the time we had for this discussion. Thank you so much for being with us. See you tomorrow. Have a fantastic rest of your day.
Happy Valentine's.
Happy Valentine's.